Hey YouTube, welcome back to my channel. This is Canadian Retro. I've got my pickups here from the Ontario Collectors Con. I believe that's the name of it. I'm trying to remember. I always want to say something a little bit different, but the Ontario Collectors Con. And this show is for all kinds of different sort of collecting. A lot of figurines, vintage stuff, everything from artwork, a lot of pop type things. These, you know, like the pop bobblehead type deals. There's just tons of different stuff there. I couldn't even begin to list off everything. There are some really cool items, that's for sure. There's only a few gaming tables or whatever, but I did go in there early, got a VIP set up just because I wanted to see what was in there, you know, before everybody got in and kind of rummaged through the whole place. So I got in there early, VIP style, went through, and you know, there was about 3 or 4 vendors there that were selling games, so it wasn't so hefty on the game action. It was still tons of fun, and I got to talk to people, and the guys running the tables, I pretty much knew all of them, at least the video game guys, because they're always at the Waterloo swap and a variety of different swaps and things like that I've seen them before. So it was really cool to catch up with people. Another great thing that I did, and I'm going to explain it a little bit in more detail, is I unloaded a whole ton of doubles there and just made off with some games instead of trying to get cash out of them, which was perfectly fine by me. When it comes to dollar for dollar, I think the table's got the better deal of it, but when it comes down to, you know, quality, I was happy to get rid of all that quantity because it was really bogging down my games room. So I was pretty happy with that thing on the day. I also ran into and met up with and did a trade with a fellow YouTuber named Nintendo Hodge, and of course you have to go check out his channel. Absolutely amazing collection, amazing guy. Like, I swear to God, like, I meet this guy, you know, at the show, and you know, I just felt like I was talking to a guy I knew for a very long time, sort of thing, and just enjoyed spending the day with him. We actually headed up to Game Horde as well, which is a video game store in Brampton, here near where I'm at. So it was kind of cool. I'd never been in there before. You know, we were looking at different things and just kind of scoping out different prices and whatnot. So anyways, that was sort of the, you know, idea of the day kind of thing. So when we met up, we actually did a trade, and I traded him some stuff. You'll check out his video, I'm sure. You'll get to see all that kind of goodness, but this is what we traded for. The first thing I got from him was War 2410, and I think this is a strategy game or something like that. I'm not totally certain about that. I did check out some gameplay footage, but I've been looking at tons of different games lately as far as gameplay footage goes, so I don't really know if that's totally the truth there. If you played this, let me know what you think of it. But I'd never heard of it before, so I had to go check it out. So kind of cool there. It was a very Nintendo-y kind of day here, just a couple of things that weren't. Another title, which looks pretty cool, it's kind of like a Street Fighter kind of game, but with Bruce Lee as Dragon, the Bruce Lee story, which I believe I have this on the Sega Genesis, but it's always nice to get them on different platforms, because a lot of the time, you know, they don't, they're not exactly the same on the two systems, unlike, you know, games that you might get that are multi-plat these days. Back in the day, they sort of had their own way of going about it. Now, it's an acclaimed title, which I'm sure, you know, isn't like the world's greatest or anything like that, but it seemed to get decent reviews, so I thought that was something, and I didn't have it in my collection, so always nice to get some cartridge stuff, that's for sure. And then finally, the last thing was a boxed copy of Plaques. I'm not going to get in here, but it's totally complete. Inside, in relatively good shape, maybe a few dents and stuff like that on it, but nothing too bad overall, and pretty happy to, you know, get box games. I'm not a huge box collector, but you know, when he showed me what he had and this was there, I was like, you know, it'd be cool to get a box Tengen game, just because I don't have any box Tengen games up there, so pretty sweet right there. So that's a trade that we did, pretty happy with that. You can go check out on his channel when he puts up his video of the stuff that I traded to him, but really amazing YouTuber. You know what I'll do, like as always, I'll put links down below to his channel. Love shouting at people, and he's definitely a person, if you know, can do a trade with or can get a chance to meet up with, you should definitely do that. He's going to be hosting a show, a video game swap type thing up in Barrie coming up in the next few months here. So what I'm going to do later on is I'll probably end up in a future video shouting out that because I'm going to be in attendance at that Barry show as well, which he is hosting. So that's really great right there. I'm going to move on to what else I picked up here. So one of the vendors that I see at the different shows and whatnot, we always chat it up. It's always fun talking to him. We did a kind of like a deal, I guess. He had a table with a bunch of stuff. It was like everything here is $5. If you buy two things, you get one free kind of thing. So basically it was $10. But what we did was I wanted a couple titles, and then Nintendo Hodge wanted a title. So we kind of like we were working over the tables a little bit, finding things and bundling them together, basically to get deals for ourselves. So these are the two things that I picked out from the table. I don't know anything about this title, so you guys will have to tell me. I imagine it's on a $5 table. It can't be overly valuable or anything like that. But it's Spectre. I'd never heard of it before, so for what it was, I was willing to take a risk, and just to help out the vendor to clear out some of his stuff, I thought I'd pick that one up. And then there's also this one here, which is Cyborg Justice. Comes in this like protective, I don't know, universal case, I guess. But it comes with the manual and the actual thing there. So maybe I'll print out some artwork or something like that, find an old Genesis case, and hook myself up with that on my shelf, or maybe I'll just keep that separate until I can find a shelf for it. But still cool nonetheless. And for whatever, I can't remember really what I paid for it because we kind of, I don't know, figured out some cash thing later on. So that was pretty cool right there. And then moving on from there, this is another deal that Nintendo Hodge, I always want to call him Nintendo Hodge for some reason. Nintendo Hodge and I worked on another table here. He picked up a title. You'll have to check that out in his video, but these are the two I got out of the deal. One was Star Trek Starfleet Academy for the Super Nintendo. Again, something I don't know a whole lot about, but did not have it in the collection. Label's not in perfect shape, but I'll clean it up and we'll see what we get out of that. So that was a $5 kind of item right there. And then I also picked up the Incredible Hulk. So don't know a whole bunch about that one, but looks kind of neat. Side-scrolling beat 'em up, I think, kind of style to it. Don't really know a whole lot about it. I did see this surprisingly when we went to the Game Horde, and they had, and I'm trying to remember what it was, I think it was like $15.99 on this, and the cartridge was all beat up. This cartridge is actually in pretty decent shape. It's not too bad. Unfortunately, this is missing the manual, but I'll have to check this one a little further. I just went on a whim. I knew I didn't have it in my collection. Love like superhero type stuff, so figured I'd pick that up as well. And then the last thing here, I picked up from a person, like I said, a vendor that I've seen at in numerous shows. Really great guy. I love talking to him. He always, he's super knowledgeable. We always like swapping stories a little bit. And I told him I had this bin in my car of all those doubles basically you saw in a previous video. Some people, stuff from that bin I traded to Nintendo Hodge. Some of that stuff I also traded in another trade, which will be in an upcoming video when I receive the things, because I had to send that one to the States. So basically those are the two people that showed any interest in anything in those bins, and a lot of that stuff had been following me around from show to show, time and time again, and just not selling. There were a few, I think, maybe new items in there, but I just chucked them in for the sake of throwing them in, kind of thing. For the most part, though, they're all like $5, $3, up to $10 kind of items. But again, nothing that really I was able to sell at the shows or anywhere else, and I really didn't want to even bother taking pictures of it, trying to put it up on eBay or something like that, because it just wasn't really worth like the man hours trying to list all that stuff. So I kind of took the bin. I said, look man, what are you gonna give me for the whole thing? I'll take table credit. I said $100, and you know what, at that point I was just happy to unload all of it, and I'm so glad that I did. It's such a weight to get rid of those kind of doubles. I don't know if you guys know that feeling, but having all that kind of stuff sitting around for a very long time is a little bit stressful. So I'm so happy to unload it, and in return I ended up picking up these three titles. The first one here, label's in a little bit worn shape, not too bad, not ripped or anything, which is nice, and that's X-Men Mutant Apocalypse. And I don't know anything about that title necessarily, but again, like superhero kind of thing, so thought I would check it out. And like I said, I was doing picks from his table. So the next one here is Brainlord. Also picked that up for the Super Nintendo, so that's pretty awesome right there. This one looks like it's in pretty decent shape. I'm gonna have to clean everything, of course, but this one's actually pretty mint, but the other ones are a little bit dirty. And then the last one here is Super Adventure Island, which unfortunately has a little bit of a rip right here in the label, but for the most part, it's in pretty decent shape. So I'm pretty happy about that. You know, an entire bin of games, you guys are probably thinking, wow, that's pretty crazy to trade for 3 Super Nintendo games, but for me to unload all that stuff was just, like I said, unloading, like just getting rid of a ton of burden I didn't really want to deal with, and that stuff wasn't moving anywhere. It was just sitting here in the retro dungeon, basically an eyesore. So I was happy to unload it and pick up a few titles for the collection here. So that's everything I have. If you get a chance, like I said, go check out Nintendo Hodge's channel. Met up, like I said, with him today, and also his buddy Chris. I forgot to mention that earlier, and we had a great time all hanging out together today, so that was pretty cool. And also met my buddy Marco again, local guy. Kind of told him about the show. He showed up there, so that was pretty cool too. That's basically everything I got to show you guys, though. Thanks again for watching. If you have not subscribed yet, please do feel free to thumbs up this video, comment down below, and I will see you all later.